by Padre Mariano. Did I say that correctly? We will have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Principal Frank Telemko from Narcoossee Middle School. National Anthem by Shayna LaRoche, who actually just got accepted to Berkeley School of Music, so congratulations. Our mission statement tonight will be read by Ms. Michelle Jarrett and translation services by Ms. Belinda Reyes. So if I could please ask everyone to rise. Padre.
Let us dispose ourselves before the holy presence of God. Dear Lord, we acknowledge your divine presence in our lives and in our gathering today. You have entrusted us with so many precious lives. Please guide our meeting and the decisions we make. Help us to be aware of your love, weaving it through every part of our school life. Come, lead us, we pray. May your wisdom and inspiration be our guide as we meet together. Father, thank you for our dedicated teachers. Thank you for their inspiration in our lives. Thank you for their knowledge and skills. Thank you for their commitment to our Christian education. Please bless their work with inspiration and joy. Lead them as they mentor and train our students. Equip them as they sow seeds of understanding in our lives. May all our teachers' lives be enriched with your healing grace and love. Bring strength when there is weariness. Bring rest where there is tiredness. May they excel in their own abilities. Please help all of us respect each other, understand one another, and never fail to offer kindness and care. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Telemko.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. LaRoche.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming on the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you for allowing me to be able to perform here tonight. I am encouraging you to come out next week at the Osceola County School for the Arts, and there will be Arts Alive. That's a performance where I will be performing and a bunch of other people from Osceola County.
You may be seated. Whenever you're ready, Ms. Jarrett.
I'd like to read our mission statement, inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Thank you. Ms. Reyes.
Good evening. My name is Belinda Reyes, and I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Belinda Reyes y estoy aquí para proveer servicios de traducción.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. We have our comments, positive comments from board members now. Start with Mr. Wheeler,
Oh, I've got quite a few. First, I need to,
as always.
I want to recognize our public relations department. They did a great job with the Teacher of the Year event at Silver Spurs, Heritage Park. They did a terrific job. And I want to recognize also, we recently had quite a momentous occasion. We have broke ground on a new Harmony Middle School, which is desperately needed. So that is great news for the east side of the county. I want to thank the Education Foundation for inviting the school board today to meet with their executive committee. It was a great collaborative meeting, and we appreciate the relationship we have with our foundation. And finally, for those of you, thank you. I'm sorry, everybody. For those of you who don't know, how many of you know who Lamar is? Raise your hand if you know who Lamar is. You all walked by Lamar. Okay, we got one. Lamar is in the lobby. Lamar is an art project from Harmony High School. It's this walk, when you go out, you'll see a rooster, a recycled rooster. It's recycled artwork. I want to recognize Harmony High School for Lamar out in the lobby, which was pointed out to me. It's quite a piece of artwork, and Harmony High School Art Department, thank you so much for finding a second use for recyclables and also making them pleasing to the eye. That's all I've got, Mr. Booth.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Soto.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to make you aware that April is Autism Awareness Month. It is also Jazz Appreciation Month. And my favorite, it is Mathematics Awareness Month. You know, you'll be surprised about every month that comes out, there's some topic. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. All three of those are very close and dear to me. Learn from all of those, and just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'll go ahead and do my part. I wanted to say thank you to our communications staff as well, Dana and her team. They did an outstanding job putting on the teacher awards this year. They worked really, really hard to make that a really, really high-class event. So thank you to those ladies. Thank you to that whole team. It was a great night to honor, our county's best teachers and school-related employees, and received a lot of positive emails back from that. Kudos to Dana and her team. Just wanted to say my daughters play middle school sports, and I think flag football was just ending for my daughter's team because they didn't make the semifinals. But I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, I think it's a thankless job. The middle school coaches do a fantastic job coaching these young kids who are just kind of learning. It's almost like coaching Little League, which I do, and so I understand the trials there. But I want to say thank you to those folks who come out and do the middle school coaching. My daughters appreciate it, and I know the folks who are involved in that do as well. Thank you to the Education Foundation. We did have a great meeting. Mr. Wheeler has already touched on that. My last thing I wanted to talk about tonight is last month I had a community member, a constituent, call me about what do we do about suicide prevention. She had someone close to her family who actually, coincidentally, was someone who I was close with as well that did unfortunately commit suicide earlier this year. They wanted to know what we did as a school district, and she was just misinformed about a lot of things. So I can't thank Miss Elizabeth Lane, and I know Miss I told her I was going to do this. Where's she at? She may still be in the back. There she is. Point her out. Miss Rapanisi. They took some time out of their day today to sit with this parent and myself and explain to her all the different things that we go through and what we do in a crisis situation. So thank you to you and your team. You guys are doing shorthanded, I know, but you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I appreciate everything that you do, and I really appreciate you taking time just for that one individual, because she genuinely did appreciate it. So thank you very much. So I'm done. I'll actually move on to Mr. Weissauer.
I'm actually good. Anything I would have mentioned tonight, one of you have already touched on, so I'll yield the balance of the time back.
Mr. Thacker.
I'm just going to touch briefly on a topic that I believe many of us are here for. We have an offer on the table for a salary increase and a bonus, well-deserved bonus and salary increase. Unfortunately, the package that we've offered comes with an increase in employee contributions for the health care coverages for certain types of our insurance. Very common knowledge. Everybody knows the cost of health care has continued to climb in this country for the last 10 to 15 years, and it's a huge burden on all of us, and it's a huge burden on the country. We've not charged an increase in our plans over the last 4 years. We've been absorbing those increases. The largest increases in the plans that we've proposed are on the family plans, which due to the fact of these have been heavily subsidized in the past by the district. As a district, we're ranked 65th out of 67 districts in the state of Florida for per pupil funding. We're also 67 out of the 67 districts in Florida for our administrative costs per student. We're trying to do all we can to manage with the funds that we do receive while maintaining a balanced budget. We are required to maintain our health trust fund at a level of approximately 2 months of our average spend on health care. In our case, it runs around $10 million in that trust fund. Last several years, we've had to put significant money into that trust fund to keep it at that level. And based on our current budget and where we're going this year, we will fall below that state requirement without making a budget amendment to put more money into that trust fund. That being said, I realize we don't have a lot to work with, but I'd like the board to consider asking the staff to go back and determine if there's some ways we can find some additional savings opportunities that could help us keep our trust fund solid and lessen the impact of family coverage over a couple-year period as opposed to all at once. We discussed some prescription policy changes at a workshop a month or so ago. I'm not sure, 2 weeks or a month ago. Are there some things like that we could do where we could take some money out and change the burden or lessen the burden on that family coverage? Board, I don't know what you think. I would assume that any option we'll find will have some opposite reaction and some trade-offs that the bargaining team would have to sit down and work through and see what those trade-offs are and which ones are most important. If we can get that done and get it all balanced where it seems to work and be more acceptable, I think that'd be great for the district. Then hopefully we can continue to work on the state to improve our funding for education over the next several years, making it possible for the board to ensure that we maintain salaries and benefits to keep us competitive in the marketplace.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker, and I would concur with the last part of Mr. Thacker's assessment there. I would appreciate that. Go ahead quickly, Mr. Wheeler, because this is just the comment section.
I understand, but I like comments.
I know you do.
Mr. Thacker, I think it's well stated. I mean, I've had some heartburn over issues relative to family coverage for many years, and it's unfortunate. Health insurance is just one of those 800-pound gorillas we've got, but I support the effort also that we should take another look and see if we can do something to help the souls that we're responsible for. So well stated, I support it. Thank you.
Just a clarification, that's Padre's job as the souls.
I've been doing this 15 years. It's souls for us, too.
I'm not going to say anything.
I had to say something. So now, Dr. Pace.
Thank you, Chairman Booth. Just a couple more quick positive comments because there is so much great that's happening in the district. And Mr. Thacker and members of the board, we have heard you regarding the Health Insurance Trust Fund. We'll go back to the table again with that this week. We did have our second annual chess tournament in the district just last week at Highlands Elementary School. We had 46 participants from 11 different elementary schools came out to compete. After 4 hours and 54 chess matches, we had our winners. In the primary grades K through 2, it was Eli Sullivan from St. Cloud Elementary School. 3rd through 5th grade, first place was William Castillo from Highlands Elementary School, and 6th through 8th grade, first place was Gabriel Scalio from Harmony Community School. So again, a big shout out to the gifted teachers, Mr. Maddox, the principals, and everybody else who made that possible, because it's a really exciting way for our kids to stretch their brains and learn something new in a very fun, competitive way. And then finally, this morning, we talked briefly with the foundation about the Osceola Reads program. And I was able to attend the birthday party a couple of weeks ago, March 8th, 2018. And as of that time, the Osceola Reads group was able to announce that we have 7,095 registered users in the community for Footsteps to Brilliance. That's beyond the K through 2 students that are in our schools that are also using the program as a supplemental resource. So that program continues to exceed and work on the board and the community's goal for expanding our early literacy efforts. So I just wanted to share that good news with the board and the community.
You know, and I missed something because it was sitting up here in front of me, and I don't know if Frank snuck this up here or what. I did put on my Avid pin, Frank, and I've been proud to be a part of your team and help out the little bit that I could, so thank you. And you know what? That's a good segue. Come on up. This is the time of our meeting for presentations, and first will be the Narcoossee Middle School National Avid Demonstration School. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Board Superintendent. As you are aware, AVID is a college readiness system that's aimed at providing academic equity and opportunity for students. It is a global program implemented at over 5,600 schools in 44 states and 16 countries from around the world. Here at home in Osceola, nearly all of our secondary schools include the AVID program, and 13 of our elementary schools have successfully implemented the AVID program as well. However, one of our schools has gone well above and beyond, and that is Narcoossee Middle School. It was recently selected as an AVID National Demonstration School of Excellence. Only 170 other schools worldwide and 13 other schools in Florida share this great distinction. So at this time, I invite Principal Telemko and staff to the podium to offer a little more information about the significant accomplishments and receive some well-deserved recognition from all of us.
Good evening, board members. Thank you, Mr. Allen and Superintendent Pace. I want to introduce Mr. Stone, our assistant principal, Mrs. Clevenger, our other assistant principal, Ms. Henson, our AVID teacher, and our literacy coach, Mrs. Steyer. So I do want to add on a few comments also. We're very excited to be here to celebrate our success as a national demonstration school, and it's truly an honor to be recognized. This is an outstanding accomplishment for our teachers and our students, and it really is going to impact all our stakeholders. This process has been in the works for several years, and finally our school-wide efforts have paid off. So now Narcoossee will serve as a learning lab for all other schools pursuing AVID and for some current AVID schools to enhance their instructional strategies. So as a demonstration school, it'll allow our teachers and students to be leaders by exhibiting and sharing the AVID research-based best practices. Next month, we're going to have our first showcase, so 40 educators from across Central Florida will be here to observe our model classrooms. So we do have some pins that we are provided for all our leadership members and board members, so wear them proudly. And at this time, if our District 5 and AVID site team member, Mr. Booth, can come down, and Dr. Pace.
Has Ricky been there to tutor yet? Okay, I tutored for 5 years at Celebration, yes. So now I've been there.
You got a top 10 finalist, right?
Ricky, go tutor.
Great job, congratulations.
I'll see you Sunday. No, I'll be actually on the other side.
Thank you.
That can go ahead and bring us to the recognition of the Sunshine State Scholars. If you'd like to.
Thank you very much. Good evening, board and superintendents and assistant superintendents. Thank you for having us. We'd like to continue this recognition process and introduce two students who have been selected as this year's district Sunshine State Scholars in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM. The 2018 Sunshine State Scholars Program is a two-day program organized by the state, and they will host 100 Sunshine State Scholars on May 17th and 18th in Orlando. The scholars will participate in a think tank that focuses on a variety of challenges that we face here in the state of Florida. The two-day program culminates with the Commissioner of Education honoring each scholar for their significant academic accomplishments. In addition, representatives from corporations, as well as Florida colleges and universities, will meet with the students to discuss higher education opportunities and beyond available to them in Florida.
The 2 students from our school district were chosen as Sunshine State Scholar recipients based on the following criteria: their interest in pursuing post-secondary education in a Florida college or university, demonstrated interest in STEM-related studies, a weighted grade point average of a 4.0 or higher, qualifying for Florida Academic Scholars Award, and having a minimum of 25 hours of documented community service. These 2 students happen to be best friends, and they have exciting ideas and plans to make discoveries and conduct experiments in a lab that they built in their garage. They also attend school together at Osceola County School for the Arts and will be representing the School District of Osceola County as our Sunshine State Scholars. Please welcome Luke Haas and Sunny Vemhorn are cute. Congratulations.
Very distinguished gentlemen. Love the jacket.
The jackets are on point.
Good job. Congratulations.
Petitioning to be our school board member, student representative.
Let's do it. If you'll wear the jacket. Of course.
Thank you. All right, well,
Go ahead. Yeah. And next we can get Ryan Adams. We have a recognition of the Celebration Storm competitive cheerleading team from Celebration High School, I believe, Ryan? Is that what we're
Well,
doing?
we've actually added to it because we've had a couple more state champions since we were originally
Good. All
scheduled
right.
to come up. So
Good.
we have
Your show.
we have a fun presentation tonight. Thank you for allowing us to be here, Dr. Pace, members of the board, district leadership. Thank you for the opportunity. As you know, every student athlete sets goals. Every team sets goals prior to the year. And we were very fortunate in Osceola County in our rich athletic tradition. We've had over 80 individual state champions. And tonight we are here to add 4 more to that list, as well as the academic team champions. Dr. Fritz, Dr. Reinhardt, we spend a lot of time competing academically as well as athletically. And Osceola High School, the wrestling team, has now captured their 3rd state championship in wrestling, and we're going to invite them down tonight as well. So our first one, if we can roll our music here, we have a little We Are the Champions. We have an individual state champion for girls weightlifting, Virginia Beljor, 101-pound class. She cleaned 150 pounds, 135 bench press for 285 pounds. Dr. Pace and Mr. Booth, if you could come down, we're going to take some pictures.
What school? Right?
Osceola, Mr.
Yeah,
Wheeler, you can
Mr.
come down
Wheeler's
too.
gonna
Dr.
come down.
Campbell, is she here? She can come down as well. Mr. Bird's going to join us in just a second. But if we could, we have Virginia. She's here. We have three individual female wrestlers. Anna Luciano, 25-0, 3-time state champion. Abnalise Yambo, 25-0 state champion. And Kaylin Martinez, 2-time state champion. And of course, our Osceola wrestling team, they had a 3.3 GPA, which was #1 in the state for wrestling. This is their 3rd academic championship, 2010, 2013, and 2018. Their head coach, Jim Bird. Oh. Hold on. Malik, go ahead. I'll introduce you, okay? We also have a 4th individual state champion from the boys wrestling team. Malik Hines is here. He was 55-1. He's a 2-time state champion. He just won the NHSCA 126-pound national championship. He's a 2-time Fargo All-American and a Super 32 All-American. Malik Hines from Osceola as well. We want to. Want me to take it? Want me to take it?
OHS grad, Tim.
Moms and dads, you can come up too if you need to.
You can come right up here. Ladies and gentlemen, your state champions from Osceola County. Osceola Cowboys.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
Cheerleaders. Well, that's
another story.
At this time, if I could invite Mr. Connor Gilbert and Rick Tribbett from Celebration. Also, again, board, we talk about state champions. We were very fortunate in the last 3 years. This is our third team state championship in Osceola County. This makes 9 overall.
Run, Rip, run.
It's deep back there. Connor Gilbert, principal of Celebration, and their athletic director, Rick Tribbett. But it is a pleasure to introduce 2018 Orange Belt Conference district champions, regional champions, and the 2A non-tumbling FSA state champions, their head coach, Christy Boone, and her team. Ladies, we're going to take a picture. You guys know how to do this. You're 4-time champs here this year. You know how to take a team picture. Right in the middle, though, right
Would
here.
you please could you guys hold Jay up?
No, I'm doing that. Walk out of there.
Yep, there's no mic.
We can just here you go. Congratulations, ladies. Well done.
Ryan, you got more?
That's it. I'm sorry. That's all we have right now.
Congratulations,
See you later.
Hey, earlier I got to talk about the middle school coaches, but we do need to say thank you to our high school coaches. As many of you know here, I grew up the son of a high school coach at Osceola High School. Spent a lot of nights on the wrestling mat, spent a lot of nights on the football field and on the sidelines. And being the son of a coach is a really fun experience. And but they spend a lot of hours coaching and teaching our young people. So congratulations to those guys.
And I would encourage anybody to get involved with one of the high school booster clubs. Please do it. I've been there, done that.
All right, we will move on to our Outstanding School Volunteers of the Year, Miss Dana Schaefer.
Good evening. Each year, the Florida Department of Education sponsors the statewide Outstanding School Volunteer Award competition to recognize the many school volunteers who give of themselves unselfishly to help students in school. This year, each school had the opportunity to nominate an outstanding volunteer in 3 categories: youth, adult, and senior citizen. Tonight, Robin Davis in our Oasis School Volunteer Office and I are extremely proud to recognize 3 special volunteers who have been selected as District Volunteers of the Year in recognition of their outstanding service. Chairman Booth and Dr. Pace, would you both join us down front to assist us with our presentation?
I know.
Our District Youth Volunteer Volunteer of the Year is Casey Walsh from Harmony High School.
I want to tell you a little bit about Casey. Casey has been a student volunteer at Narcoossee Elementary for the past 5 years. Casey unexpectedly lost her father this past year, and even though this has been a very, very difficult year for her, Casey is always thinking of others and is willing to help no matter how big or small the project may be. Casey has worked in the Spirit program, helping students with homework and reading. She gave up part of her summer break to assist the office staff in getting ready for the new school year by preparing all the first day of school packets for the students. She also stamped and delivered all the incoming new curriculum, assisted the principal in red cupping the fence in the front of the school to say "Great happens here," helped teachers set up their classrooms, and assisted at open house. During the school year, Casey works in the very active EBD classroom where the students love her. She helps the students complete their activities, hands out daily papers to go home, engages with the students during trade-in time, helps students clean up and pack up at the end of the day, and assists students to the bus. After all of that, she comes back to organize the classroom for the next school day. This extra help is a tremendous asset to the class and the school. Casey is a student at Harmony High School and a member of the National Honor Roll Society, the French Club, and the HOSA Club. Even with this hectic schedule, she finds the time to help others and averages 5 volunteer hours a week. Like the motto on the fence, "Great happens here," it happens at Narcoossee Elementary because they have Casey Walsh volunteering for them. The school said she makes every day great when she is there. Thank you, Casey. All right, next, our District Adult Volunteer of the Year is Richard Colon, who volunteers his time at Neptune Middle. Richard Colon is a retired from both New York and New Jersey police departments and is now dedicated to spending his free time helping the band, orchestra, and chorus students at Neptune Middle School. He is a talented percussion, bass, and violin player, and he has been a huge asset to the school. His passion for music makes him the ideal volunteer for Neptune Middle's Fine Arts Department. He connects with students and makes them want to do better in school. Richard has volunteered an average of 4 hours a day, 5 days a week for the past 8 years. Whenever the school needs someone to get instruments fine-tuned, practice one-on-one or in small groups, or support substitute teachers, they know they can call Richard and he will be there for them. The school describes him as musically talented with a plethora of energy, enthusiasm, determination, and dedication. Richard impacts the way students feel about themselves, which positively impacts how they do in school. He is a bilingual, tireless volunteer who adheres to proper school volunteer practices with a professional attitude that aligns with the Neptune Middle School's motto of excellence for all, whatever it takes. Thank you, Richard, for your time and talents. And finally, our district senior volunteer of the year is Janice Mogensen, who volunteers at Lakeview Elementary School. Janice is a retired teacher from the district who has continued her commitment to the school community by volunteering as the business partner coordinator, the 5-star school coordinator, and a bookmark buddy for Lakeview Elementary School. Her work as a bookmark buddy has direct impact on 3rd grade students. As the business partner coordinator, Janice has organized and found sponsorships for the Student of the Month program, Teacher Staff Member of the Year
Member of the Year Awards, Spirit Nights, Dolphin Dash 5K, Teacher Appreciation Week, Student Incentives and Rewards, Fine Art Events, and the PBIS programs. Being a Title I school, donations are not only sincerely appreciated, but greatly needed. So far this school year, Janice has collected in excess of $25,000 in business partner support, and since her retirement, she has volunteered over 2,200 hours. Janice is also known as the 5-Star Queen and is a faithful volunteer for the Oasis Department. She has traveled to many, many schools across the district at her own expense, training staff members on how to do the 5-Star portfolio. Janice Mogensen has the heart of a champion, and her dedication to the Osceola County schools is extraordinary. We truly appreciate you, Janice. Thank you so much. To close, I want to take a photo, but I wanted to say these 3 District School Volunteers of the Year will represent the Osceola School District at the state level for Outstanding School Volunteers of the Year. These individuals also represent the over 18,000 volunteers who participate with our Oasis School Volunteer Program annually. Their involvement is an important part of our school district's journey from good to great. So let's take a photo.
And now if we could get Sarah Schumacher and Kayla Porter to come forward for the recognition of Counselors of the Year.
We're good. Yep. Stay there. Yep. And Dr. Pace? Yes, please. Good evening. School counselors play an integral part of the school. They provide social personal support to students as well as academic guidance and career exploration. They are sometimes that one person a student can reach out to when they have no one else. They are the constant student advocate and work with families to connect them to the needed resources. Each year, we recognize those school counselors that go above and beyond. The Counselors of the Year are nominated and voted on by their peers. I am proud to announce the 2017-18 Counselors of the Year. Jessica Stake, Hickory Tree Elementary. This year, Jessica has worn multiple hats and is still able to have impact on her students. She finds creative ways to build rapport with students and support their social and emotional needs with a big heart and smile. Jessica cares deeply about the Hickory Tree community, both the staff and the students' families. This year, Jessica facilitated a student leadership committee and helped that group of students serve in different areas out in the community. Jessica is always willing to lend a helping hand and assist those in need any way she can. Jessica is well respected amongst her counseling peers. She is more than happy to share any ideas or resources and support any new counselors who may need help. It's with great pleasure to announce the 2017-18 Elementary Counselor of the Year, Jessica Stake. Nicole Hoffman from St. Cloud Middle School. Nicole has been able to mentor several first-year counselors at St. Cloud Middle School as they have joined her team, going from a department of 1 to 4 counselors this school year. Nicole has had the patience to thoroughly explain how to complete the necessary requirements, has been invaluable in helping them conceptualize their role within the school, and has gone above and beyond to help them feel comfortable. Nicole has also shown them around town to help familiarize them with the community within they work. She's been more than supportive of their concerns and has been a great sounding board for when they're unsure of how to proceed with a student. Nicole is humble and is always willing to lend a helping hand. She is truly deserving of this honor. It's with great pleasure to introduce the 2017-18 Middle School Counselor of the Year, Nicole Hoffman. Charlotte Gleason, Osceola High School.
Charlotte has effectively led the guidance department at Osceola High School to improve student placement, including increased participation in advanced placement courses, career and tech ed courses, and on-time graduation. During her years as a leader in the department, she's assisted in team building, data analysis, and master scheduling. She's worked closely with the ESC and ESOL compliance specialist and consistently works to serve all students in achieving their highest potential. Charlotte is instrumental in providing reports and supports for school leaders, teachers, and instructional coaches. She is proactive and often is the first to provide needed data or communication, as she is intimately attuned to the needs of the faculty, staff, and students. Charlotte is a hard worker and is the first counselor to arrive and the last to leave. She's taken on the department lead and has excelled. It's with great pleasure to announce the 27-18 High School Counselor of the Year, Charlotte Gleason.
Molly Crotty is the College and Career Counselor at Professional and Technical High School. She is described as kind. Oh, sorry. She is described as kind, easygoing, caring person that goes out of her way to help students, former and current, as well as parents. Molly is open to learning and goes out of her way to find resources that will help students grow, both academically and for their future. As a colleague, she is wonderful to work with, always makes herself available to help out, and collaborates with her peers. She is always willing to do her part, even if it means going out of her way to help out. There are many hardworking counselors that go above and beyond, and she is one of those amazing people. Congratulations to Molly Crotty for being our 2017-2018 College and Career Counselor of the Year.
And next, if we could get Michelle Jarrett to come forward, who will do the School Library Media Month proclamation.
You're good. Good evening, and thank you for your continued support of our school libraries. As we have seen tonight, there are so many great things happening in Osceola County, and I believe that our school libraries, programs, and school library media specialists are a huge part of that success. The school library is the great equalizer, providing access to high-quality literature, digital resources, hands-on learning opportunities, and STEAM programming. Each year, school districts and Florida citizens take time to recognize the programs, services, and resources provided by school library media centers. This celebratory month provides opportunities across the state to highlight school library media contributions to improving the quality of education. I'd like to thank our news crews for being here to help us celebrate School Library Media Month, because I know that's why they're here.
Champions.
and all those champions, exactly. And I'd like to welcome Rebecca Galianis from Osceola County School for the Arts and Jennifer Glasheen, Media Specialist at Eastlake Elementary, who will read our proclamation.
Good evening. Good evening, yeah.
Welcome.
Whereas the school library program is to ensure that students and staff are effective users of ideas and information.
And whereas school library media programs significantly contribute to student achievement by providing instructional support, resources, and services.
And whereas the School Board of Education has entrusted the school library media specialists in each school to teach the skills of locating and using information through traditional resources and new technologies, to provide literature appreciation activities, and to guide and encourage content and recreational reading to every student.
And whereas lifelong learning begins and is systematically developed through school library curriculum of the elementary and secondary schools.
And whereas prompting competencies in using new and emerging technologies is an integral part of school library media programs.
And whereas school library media specialists are instructional partners and consultants in the teaching and learning process. Now, therefore, the School Board of Osceola County, Florida, hereby proclaims the month of April 2018 as School Library Media Month.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Weisshire, a second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, any discussion? Congratulations. I think we all support our media departments, and thank you for all that you do. So I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Board, we've moved to the time of our meeting where we are open for public comment. I do have quite a few here in front of me tonight. Here, we do have quite a bit to get through the night, the regular business of the meeting, so here's what we're going to do. We have numbered them as they've came in to our Board Secretary, Ms. Tanya. I'm going to do 5 up front, right here at the beginning of the meeting. We want to hear from all of you, so we're certainly going to do that. But we're going to take the rest after we've got through with the business of our meeting. So that's how we're going to do it. And I will call you up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then everybody will have the opportunity to speak after we get through our rulemaking. And then we're still going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're all going to be here. Everybody you see will still be here. So first up, Ms. Jessica Torrance. If you could, please, Ms. Jessica Torrance. No, he's got it over here. Just a reminder that you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry, where's my counter? Oh, there it is.
Right there.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Hi, my name is Jessica Torrance, and I live at 11316 Ashboro Drive in Orlando, 32837. And I came here to speak tonight because I'm a teacher here in Osceola, and of course I'm concerned about the negotiations going on and the proposed contract happening and kind of that conversation. So I'll tell my story like I'm sure anyone else would, which is I'm not using a family plan. My spouse is not on my plan, it's just me. But I recently got diagnosed with cancer, and so $5,000 will be coming out of my pocket soon. And I make about 40 grand here. Now, after taxes, that's more like 35. And then you take the 5 away and I'm at 30. And that's on a plan that you're talking about raising to $40 a month. So you're increasing my cost to $500 when something that happens to people happened to me recently. But it's not about me. I'm not the only person here. There's all these people here too. And so if they have families, they need that support. And if they've got a spouse, they need that support. And I believe that the CFO told the Osceola Gazette that spouses don't contribute to this district. And that's why we were thinking about raising the part for the spouses plan. That's not acceptable. We know when we go home that our spouses are watching those kids so that we can be here tonight. We know that when we go home, our spouses are watching our kids and taking care of our home so that we can do sports, so we can do tutoring after school, so we can show up early to plan a little bit more, set up that extra event in our class. So we know that that's not right. We also know that our spouses support us when we put forward our own money, their money, towards our classrooms. So when I stand up here as myself, I'm not even the biggest piece of the picture, even though my story is important to me. All of these people are, with their spouses supporting them and with their children that they need to support. Also, I did see in the budget that you have about $13 million in an unassigned fund. So I'm hoping that this board, knowing that these teachers work hard, knowing that the state is not helping us, the federal government is not helping us, will take that money that you have the ability to use and give it back to the instructional and the staffs at the school. Everybody who helps the school move forward every day, because we deserve it and because Osceola is the best. And there's no reason not to be the best in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shirley Hartwig. Shirley Hartwig. Shirley Hartwig, excuse me, sorry.
Hi, my name is Shirley Hartwig, 722 Mebet Street, Kissimmee, Florida. I'm actually speaking for a coworker who can't be here, Amy Morale. and she says, "Dear sirs, I'm not able to attend the school board meeting tonight as I have a small child at home and have to care for him while my husband works. As a teacher in Osceola County for 6 years, I want to share my concerns about the proposed raises to the health care for next year. I'm concerned about the amount of money that is proposed to come out of our accounts. If I maintain the current health care plan I have, I will have $1,200 a month taken out of my account with your proposed premium increases. I have a master's degree from out of state, which is not recognized for salary status in the state of Florida. After completing taxes in the 2016 year, I made a few $100s more than what qualifies as poverty level. With the proposed premium increases, it will push my income below the poverty line. I understand that the clinic is available for copay free appointments. However, since I commute from the Windermere area in Orange County, it is inconvenient to drive home to get my sick child and battle traffic to get back to the clinic. In addition to the convenience aspect, the ability to get in a timely manner is not as easy as one is led to believe. I have called when sick and was told that I couldn't be seen for 3 days, so I simply went to Central Care where I could be seen on the same day. Please reconsider the premium increases. As hired professionals, we request the respect to be treated with dignity and paid a living wage without having more than a third of our paychecks taken out simply for the right to have good health. Please feel free to contact me. I would love to be able to discuss this with you further. Sincerely, Amy Morrell. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hartwell. Miss April Isaac. April Isaac. Name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
April Isaacs, 1911, Kings Point Boulevard, Kissimmee, Florida, 34744. My name is April Isaacs, and I've been teaching for about 24 years, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry I'm a little out of wind because I've just come from my second job, and I must maintain a second job in my household to get all the little extra things that I need, as so many of my colleagues behind me have to do. I want you to know that I personally want to thank you for the job that you do. And I really believe that most of my colleagues want to thank you for that as well. I think they feel the way that I feel. But why they feel this way, they also feel another way. They have a little trepidation in their hearts about the proposal that you put forward for insurance and salaries. While we know that it meets the bottom line, and we appreciate you, again, doing your job, trying to meet the bottom line, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line doesn't fit all sizes. The people behind me have a tough time coming to the recollection of how they're going to make ends meet with the proposals that you've set forth. I didn't come here to call names, and I didn't come here to tell you about my life or about ours, but I do want you to stop to think about what it must be like in the classroom every day teaching children who don't really have the supplies they need that we take out of our pockets, or the ability to set and focus because they haven't eaten that morning. You've done a wonderful thing by creating free breakfasts. You have. But that's not the only thing and the only food that we're talking about with children or with teachers. How can you ask us as teachers to continue to fight a good battle when we don't have the money to feed our children sometimes, when we don't have money for daycares, when we certainly don't have the money that you're proposing right now for insurances to go up? I know it doesn't affect everybody. It doesn't affect me. I work for the little extras in life. But what about my colleagues back here who have 2 kids and a significant other? And perhaps the significant other is out of work. We know as little as 5 years ago that affected a lot of households. So I'm asking you to think and to put yourself in their shoes, into my shoes. I didn't come here to tell you that you haven't done your job. I came to explain to you that as a single teacher, I decide to work a second job, but they don't have a choice when you have kids. And dentist bills come. And college comes. And yet we try to take the same money out of our pockets to put forth to those kids that are in our classes. Sometimes we feel like we take it away from our families. If you adopt these proposals, the average teacher will have to find the money, not just for the extras, but to be able to afford your health insurance proposal. And to tag on to what Mr. Thacker so nobly stated, the state of Florida has realized that our district was one of the lowest funded districts for student funding. And because they realized this, they gave us an additional $3.5 million more to the SDOC. I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm not asking for anything but for us to set down and actually work together again on a reasonable package that will provide for all of us. I thank you for your time, and I leave you with this. These people behind me, the people in your schools, are wonderful human beings. We're not perfect. We know you're not perfect, but we thank you for your time. Please show us that you thank us for ours, and let's fix this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Isaacs. Ruth Nelson. Ruth Nelson.
In the lobby?
While she's finding her way, I'll put her next. Deborah Davis. Miss Davis. Name and
Deborah
address for the-
Davis.
yeah, thank you. Go.
6101 Savage Street, St. Cloud, Florida. And I want to thank you for trying to help us with our insurance. And I'm a chicken at heart. It's scary to get up here. But I've looked at the Parkland students, and I've looked at the teachers in West Virginia and Oklahoma on the news every night. And I think I need to be brave. I had a stroke. I'm a high-impact teacher. But I had a stroke looking at test scores. I know there's a lot of people behind me who have health issues due to stress. Okay, I can't use the wellness center because I have to go to specialists now. I even have a pill box. I never thought I'd have a pill box. I fill it every day, but I can't get my prescriptions through the wellness center. I have to pay for them through a pharmacy because they are prescribed by a specialist. I know the insurance costs are sent out to our union, and we've looked at them, we reviewed them, and I appreciate the fact that we've advertised the raises. But unfortunately for me, out of pocket will be $6,000, and every year for the last 3 years, I've had to pay out of pocket. My approximate raise will probably be about $1,000. So I'm losing money. I am paid to work 7.5 hours a day. I work no less than 9 hours a day plus the weekend. My planning times are consumed with meetings and data and all other things that come in. And my scheduled workday starts and ends with students, so I don't have that extra time. I'm aware that the district is considering adding some extra things next year to our workload. More meetings, recess with planned activities, and tasks for every proficiency scale. Please intervene in our crisis. I want to propose something that we cut our workload, reducing the stress and the health issues we face. Cut the costs. Maybe look at the cost of testing. If the state and even federal governments look to, maybe we can lobby to reduce that cost and put some more money into our insurance. My doctor was mystified why I suffered a stroke since I was in good health, since they haven't found any source. And he asked me, they ran all kinds of tests. They could not figure it out. And he said, "What is your occupation?" And I very proudly said, "I am a teacher." And his response to me was, "Now it all makes sense." Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Did we find Ms. Ruth? Ruth Nelson, did we find Ms. Ruth? Okay. And I hope I say this right. Is it Erica? Is it Hoyne? Erica Hone? Wade? Name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Ms.
Erica Hoyne, 3026 Albib Drive, St. Cloud, Florida. Let me start out by telling you a little bit about my family. My husband and I have 3 young children. Both my husband and I attended school in this district. We graduated from Osceola High School. Our daughter attends school in this district, and we both work for this district. I've been a teacher for 13 years, have helped develop curriculum at the district level, and have taken on various leadership roles at my school. My husband has worked in the maintenance department for 3 years. He started out in general maintenance, moved to a mechanic's position, and is working towards being a specialist. He was also honored with the district's High Five Award. As you can see, we are both completely invested in this district, but can't seem to figure out why this district won't invest in its employees. This weekend, I sat down just as I always do around the 1st and the 15th and paid our bills. After we pay our mortgage, daycare, and household expenses, there is not much left. I am extremely concerned that what little we have left each month is going to go towards higher insurance costs. In general, we are a healthy family but have had higher medical expenses this year. I can't imagine paying those same bills based on your new proposed coverage. A few years ago, we were all told we could utilize the district's clinic to help offset our costs. What a joke. I have called numerous times when my children are sick and told they were booked for the entire week. I cannot predict when my children will be sick. No other doctor's office runs at 100% capacity. They save a small percentage appointments for people that are truly sick and need to be seen in a timely manner, not in a week. When my daughter had pink eye, I could have used the clinic for free and been prescribed medication at the clinic for free. Instead, I took her to the pediatrician, paid my copay, went to CVS, and got her eye drops. I paid $75 out of pocket when I could have been seen for free. On another occasion, I was told the clinic was booked and I should visit a local Centricare. That would have cost me over $100 to be seen. I would love to utilize the clinic, but can't seem to ever get an appointment. There seems to be a difference in opinion on what the word raise means. To me, this means overall higher compensation. To this district, it means paying us with a one-time bonus, taxed at a higher rate, and charged higher insurance costs. Why was this money for bonuses not offered to us in our salaries? I understand that over the years, laws and language have changed the way teachers are paid. I know that steps, as we were once promised, are a thing of the past. I do, however, think it's disgusting that someone with 13 years in this district, a master's degree, barely makes more than a newly hired teacher. I understand that teachers in general get paid less than other professionals, but I never thought I would be paid less and less each year. Mr. Weishire, I had the pleasure of meeting you this year at Lakeview Elementary. You stopped in my classroom, shook my hand, and thanked me for my hard work and dedication. You also said you appreciated everything teachers do for our community. Mr. Weishire, members of this board, when are you going to make teachers an offer that makes us feel valued and appreciated?
Thank you, Ms. Hoyne. We are going to move on with the rest of our meeting now, and then we will continue. We want to hear from all of you, and we will definitely open the public comment back up at the end of the meeting.
Honor the teachers. Let them keep going. I have papers to grade. And IEP meeting in the morning. I have a child that needs to go to bed. I have a child at home by herself. So honor your teachers. Put them first. Exactly.
So we need to recess our actual board meeting right now and convene our public workshop for Mr. Boyd. Mr. Boyd?
Good evening. Good evening, board members.
Thank you, John.
We bring to you at this workshop some proposed changes for the Code of Student Conduct. They're just a handful. We're not asking for any action tonight. We'll bring them back to you on May 1st at the public hearing and request action at that time. The first change proposed revises the policy document to reflect recent changes in state law and to provide consistency with district precedent and current practice. The second change revises the title page to update the school year reference to 2018-19. The table of contents change adds section 504 to the section titles Suspension, Exceptional Student Education, and Recommendation for Expulsion, Exceptional Student Education. The Dear Students and Parents section deletes reference to the year to reflect continuity across all school years going forward. Page 2 deletes the Technical Education Center Osceola TECO and replaces it with its new name, Osceola Technical College OTEC. Page 5 adds paragraph referring to social, emotional / mental health of our students to align the Code of Student Conduct with Strategic Plan Goal 1, Academic Success, Strategy 1F, develop and sustain a safe, healthy, and caring learning environment. Page 10 deletes obsolete penalties in regard to the school district dress code policy. Page 10 also adds the words "or designee" to the paragraph that references decisions related to the violation of the school district dress code policy. Page 30 adds a paragraph as required by the United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights that ensures students eligible to be classified as Section 504 shall receive the same provisions as exceptional student education students regarding suspensions, and the last page on 34 analogously does the same for recommendations for expulsion. And those are all of the proposed changes for this board workshop tonight.
Thank you, John. Board, any discussion? Any questions for Mr. Boyd? Mr. Weisser?
Yeah, just a quick one. I've reviewed all of them. I don't have any problem with any of the changes. The one that I didn't think was needed, though, is under the human dignity section. I felt like what was articulated in that is a little bit redundant of what's already stated in there. I do understand that it's being put in specifically the way that it's worded to directly align with statements that are in the school board strategic plan, but I felt like it's not additional verbiage that we need to add in. As you know, we can add language upon language to rules, policies, and procedures, but sometimes you don't need to add them if it's already stated and understood of who we are and how we act. So I felt like that was a little extra, not something that I think we need to include.
Was there some new state rules or regulations, Mr. Boyd, that came into effect?
To my knowledge, not for that change.
Okay.
It was just to align the two documents for consistent
You can get with us on the reason for that change?
Yes, sir. Not a problem.
Mr. Weisshire, you good? Oh, wait, Ms. Mungo.
I'm sorry, Ms.
That's
Mungo.
okay. The reason for that change was for notification for parents to know that if they wanted to link up with any additional counseling services for their students, that was available.
Yeah, and my point is I think it's understood in all the rest of the document and the fact that we've provided those services all along that we don't need to add it at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So we will reconvene our regularly scheduled board meeting and ask for any agenda modifications. Is that correct, Ms. Tanya? Okay. Mr. Wheeler?
Good.
Mr. Soto? Good? Mr. Weisshire?
Fine, thank you.
Mr. Thacker?
I need to pull item 12.05.
All right, board, we will pull item 12.05 and add it. Tanya, where's the easiest place for you to add that? 12.05, we need to pull it from consent. Where's the best place to add it?
Normally we do it right after the consent.
Under the facilities
Regular facilities?
It's a contract deduct.
What?
It's a deduction. You're not
I don't
making
think that matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 12.05, we will have that in our regular facilities agenda. Okay? And, also, we do have a blue sheeted item from the Cigna. It's a Cigna and SDOC School District of Osceola County contract from Business and Finance for the e-care, correct? And that's our blue sheeted item. Board, you should all have a copy of that. We will be adding that to the consent agenda. Board? Without any further amendments, Board, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted, with the one change taking 12.05.
And adding the blue sheet.
Blue sheet.
Okay,
Second that.
all right. Got a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to...
4-1. 4-1.
Oh, 4-1, sorry. 4-1. 4-1. Excuse me.
We got 12.05 now.
4-1, that's Mr. Weisshire on a no vote.
Okay.
All right.
Take 12.05 now?
No, we've got that.
Put on
Now we're on
15.
item number 13, our information agenda items. Mr. Fritz. You just turned it over. That was quick.
I was looking for the team. I knew they were in here. Ms. Burdette is going to start. Board, we are going to go over the summer learning opportunities as well as the summer bridge programs for our students.
And that's this document, right?
Correct. Ms. Burdette?
We have a PowerPoint too? It's not there yet. We're looking. That's it, yes. All right. Well, good evening. All right, well, please permit me to introduce myself. I'm Stacy Burdette, Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, and with me I have a team here. And on the team is Janice Franceschi, who's Director of Professional Development, and Belinda Reyes, the Executive Director of Multicultural Education. And thank you for permitting us to share with you this evening Summer Bridge, which is for kids, and professional learning for adults. It's going to be an amazing summer. We're really excited. If I have a clicker, I don't know where it's at. So I'm just giving a little nod. There it is. Okay. 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 All right. As the school year comes to a close, some of our students get very anxious about the summer. They rely on our food service, and for meals, they rely on our curriculum, for our materials, and really they just get attached to the teachers. And they just, some of them, believe it or not, just really are not ready to go home. They really love school. So this is really especially true for our elementary schools. So the School District of Osceola County has designed a bridge to connect the summer to the next school year. So we have something called 2018 Summer Bridge. During the months of June and July, Summer Bridge will include opportunities for students from VPK to 12 to extend their school year through enrichment, remediation, camps to serve the diverse needs of our students. Summer Bridge will include programs for reading, math, credit recovery, acceleration, and the fine arts. And these programs are for our English language learners and our exceptional student education. We've made specific attention to those students. Okay. You were given an addition there, a school board packet, yes, that has a complete listing of our summer offerings this year. But it's quite lengthy, so we just gave you a little tiny... No, sir. No. So it's just a little snippet here tonight. We wanted to let you know that we have grown from 29 to 45 opportunities for students this year, from 2017 to 2018. And these opportunities were created because of the high demands in specific areas to meet specific needs. On this slide, we have a snapshot of the various Summer Bridge 2018 programs. Returning this year is our Summer Bridge STEAM Enrichment Camp. This camp expanded from 6 sites to 10 because we had wait lists at the time of registration last year. The lines were so long that it was just great. Summer Bridge is a camp. It's specifically developed for STEM and to increase
reading and math skills, and to decrease summer learning loss. Your advice in primary math is very important to us. We've created a new math camp designed specifically for our kindergarten, first, and second grade students. It's called the K2 Math Camp. Students in grades K through 2 will have an opportunity to engage in mathematics in order to be better prepared for the next grade level. It's very interesting, the students who finish 5th grade going to 6th. Those of you who are parents already have experienced this. It's not only an anxious time for the student, it's a super anxious time for the mom. I don't know if you've ever lived that. So the promotion of this time is exciting yet anxious. So we're bringing back the 6th grade Jumpstart Camp. It provides an opportunity for students to know what it's going to be like before they get there. They get an opportunity to visit their own school and experience middle school. It gives them that opportunity to feel much more ready for the camp. And I know it assures their parent too. In 2017, the state average for acceleration in middle school was 68%. In our school district, the Osceola County School District, the acceleration percentage was 83%. This is a difference of 15%. We continue to support acceleration for our students, and we have brought back our pre-algebra to algebra boot camp, which absolutely supports this by having students transition from pre-algebra to algebra high school. It's a course for those students and supports that data. And lastly, as a little snapshot for you guys, we want to bring back our impact lab because, as you already know, currently the graduation rate for the school district of Osceola County is 86.3%, and our school ranks 15 out of 67 school districts. The impact lab does support this data. So not only will our students be learning this summer, but so will our staff. So here's Janice Franceschi to tell you a little bit about it.
Good evening. So just like it is a great time in the summer for our students to participate in opportunities to grow, it is also a great time for our employees. If you take a look at the packet that you have in front of you, you can see there are hundreds, literally hundreds of workshops and opportunities that are available. These courses are coming to you from all kinds of departments, from the various departments. We have curriculum department is providing support, elementary, middle, and high school, career and technical, multicultural, professional development, ESC, MIPD, research and evaluation as well. So we have hundreds of workshops that are being offered, and really it is a huge investment in our employees, an opportunity for them to gain additional skills as well as additional compensation for facilitators and for participating in the workshops themselves. I'd like to take a moment to highlight just a few. I promise I won't take the whole evening here going over all 50-some pages of workshops. But if you look at the screen in front of you, I just have some that I wanted to highlight for ELA reading teachers. Elementary teachers, the teach reading will have the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of how to implement literacy workstations. Middle school, ELA or reading teachers have a couple of workshops, one titled Utilizing Closed Reading Strategies and Text-Dependent Questions that will be offered to them. And high school teachers will get to enhance their collaborative structures in the classroom and learn how to implement their teacher-led literacy stations. In math,
Janice, we're going to check the mic.
There it is. Now you're on.
okay. All right.
Please continue.
Okay. I'm like, really? Okay. So for math, we have a math discourse workshop that's being offered by Curriculum Associates, one of our partners, to help teachers engage students in rich mathematical
conversations. And our Carnegie Math Academies for high school math teachers are going to be very subject specific. So if you're an algebra teacher, you'll get to participate in an Algebra Academy specific to learning strategies on how to engage those students in their lessons. Science, this was the school year that we are adopting new science textbooks and resources. So we have workshops for K-12 science teachers to help them get acquainted, better acquainted with the new science textbook materials and how they can be utilized to provide standard-based lessons. All of these opportunities are going to incorporate standards-based instructional practice, the use of technology, and collaborative planning. A list of the opportunities is actually going to be released to our teachers tomorrow. You have the packet in front of you. And I know you didn't get to hear the first part of it. So just to reiterate very quickly, there were some ELA opportunities that are available for all elementary, middle, and high school as well. Okay. This is just a very small sampling. So take a look at your packet so that you know what is being released tomorrow. We're excited that Dr. Pace has created a video that is going to go out with the list of courses, letting our employees know what will be offered and available for them. So next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Belinda Reyes, who's going to talk to us specifically about the opportunities for our ELL students and teachers.
If we were at a school, I'd ask you to stand and shake out your wiggles, but we're not, so I won't. Instead, I wish you a good evening, Chairman Booth, board members, superintendent, staff, and our teachers, because what we're talking about here is for our kids and for you. So selfishly, I'm glad you're here. Superintendent Pace tasked us with ensuring summer programming that would be available to English language learners, particularly those joining us due to Hurricane Maria. We have welcomed over 2,700 students displaced by Hurricane Maria, of which over 1,900 are still actively enrolled with us. Focusing on language acquisition, programs also have emphasis on areas of need at particular schools, such as comprehension, math, technology, and you can see that on this slide. I want you to know that traditionally, the Multicultural Education Department has sponsored 4 summer programs. This summer, I am pleased to share that we have 18 programs representing each and every one of your districts. The 14 schools who have not previously had these offerings will be provided with resources, which can also be used during the school year for English language learners as they join us. In the past, our department has always supported schools with summer programs. While respecting school-based management, this year the Multicultural Education Department will be more involved in the planning phase for the programs, more evidence-based monitoring throughout summer, and program success reviews. That is specific to what we're doing for students, our English language learners in the district. But you know, anything that you do for a teacher, you do for a child. And so we're proud to also offer summer professional learning for our teachers. It is also standing tradition for our department to offer a comprehensive institute for teachers and administrators. This year, the institute has grown to the Building Pathways to Success for Language Learners Conference. The highlight of this year's work is the use of data in the areas of student language acquisition, student academic achievement, and reflective learning cycle, school instructional trend data, which highlights best practices already utilized in our classrooms in the programs and approaches that are outlined in the slide. We have taken great care to immerse all members of our department in the teaching framework so that we can support teachers within their teaching expectations rather than take on one more initiative. With the approval of the school board, another highlight will be the Elevation Training, which is a platform for compliance, instruction, and collaboration. This platform is designed to streamline processes for teachers, minimize, if not eliminate, FTE findings, and increase our ability to best meet the needs of ELLs during the scheduling and instructional processes. It is a pleasure to build on such a strong foundation with such a dedicated team, and I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Reyes.
a great summer enrichment camp for your children? The Osceola School District will be hosting a free Summer Bridge STEAM Enrichment Camp for your kids. Kids will experience focused activities in science, technology, arts, math, and sports to increase their reading and math skills. What is that?
Too much talking, mister. Kids, here's what you really need to know. This camp is going to be off the hook. I'm not sure what STEAM is, but at this camp, we're going to build cars, learn to code, invent our own toys, even do a treasure hunt.
Right about that. That's exactly what I was just saying.
No, you didn't.
Whatever. Well, this camp will be offered at a school near you. There will be 5 different programs. 5, and you can choose to go to any or all of them.
Be right about that. You can attend as much as you want, so how do you sign up?
Is that it? Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you to the team. We appreciate all your hard work and dedication on that. Board, any discussion?
No, just thank you. Great
Yep.
presentation.
I got one question.
Oh, we do. Jay,
I got one
Mr.
question.
Wheeler?
I was looking through this, and I'm just curious. I did not see a summer school offering of Algebra 1, or did I miss it?
Geometry.
Did miss it? Hang on.
Yeah, there's a Jumpstart program in there for our, we have it in the middle school, and we also have it in the high school for those students that are going to be going into algebra.
Yeah, I'm looking for middle school summer grade recovery. There's not, wait, what?
On the back of page 4,
Pre-algebra, right.
2 algebra.
Okay, I'll take this offline with Scott. Okay, thank you. That's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Board, if you see the other information item is the monthly business advisory board meeting minutes. They're in your packet as always.
Right.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. Board, that brings us to our regular agenda items. We don't have that many, but
I'll move for approval of item 1405.
Did you say 1401 to 1405?
Board,
14.05.
we have a motion to approve item 14.05, which is all the items under.
Oh, okay. I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Board, that moves us to regular facilities agenda items.
Make a motion to approve 15.03.
Second.
Jeopardy music, cue it. We have a motion by Mr. Weisshire, a second by Mr. Wheeler for 15.03, which approves items 01 and 02. Board, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? No. Motion carries 5-0. Board, this does bring us to item 12.05. If you'll go back to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Weisshire, a second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, is there any discussion? Mr. Thacker?
Yes, I will need to abstain from voting on this item. My son is employed by Moss Construction, who is the contractor.
And they're decreasing the contract amount. I know.
Doesn't matter if they're increasing or decreasing. And I will fill out the appropriate
Okay,
forms.
thank you. Okay, I had the motion by Mr. Weisshire, second by Mr. Wheeler, correct? Board, seeing no more discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Please please let the record show that the motion carried 4-0 with Mr. Thacker's abstention. Dr. Pace.
Just as a reminder, board members, on Thursday, we'll be taking our 6th graders to the Ram Rodeo. Really excited about sharing our traditions with them. We have the Chamber Legislative Update on Thursday, April the 12th, Arts Alive on Friday, April the 13th, and our Oasis Volunteer Picnic on Saturday, April the 14th at Wild, Florida, if you want to join us.
Yep, I'll be there. Since it's kind of across the street. It's a good one for me. Mr. Kruppenbacher.
There's 2 items. Matt, Ms. Culver, can you tell me the date of the next regular board meeting?
April 17th.
Okay. On April 17th, following the board meeting that night, 5:30. We would need an executive session on two items. One is a lawsuit involving Juan Rivera Cavazudo, and the second is Samuel Torres versus the school board. In attendance would be the board, the superintendent, myself, our defense counsel, and the court reporter to discuss litigation strategy and that. The only other, yes, I'm sorry. Closed session at the next meeting regarding the Cavazudo and Torres matters. And then the only other item, I'd like to thank Commissioner Weishire, who was actually quite helpful to me in working on some lease agreements for us, and his background in real estate in the county, what he knew was very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Good. Board, is there any objections to an executive session after the April 17th board meeting? All right, seeing none, we'll add that to the calendar. You already did your update, I'm assuming, when I called on you the first time. So, board, that brings us to unfinished business. I think that's a time we could, if it's okay with everybody, we'll open it back up for public comment. And actually, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to do something before I opened it up before. I'll put that on me. Mr. Krumpenbacher did need to make a statement concerning contracting and bargaining. If you speak in the mic.
I'm getting the look. I'm sorry. We are currently in the midst of the district of collective bargaining. You have a collective bargaining team that represents the board. So it's always a difficult thing when elected officials aren't responding and people are raising concerns. But I have to legally advise you, it's not appropriate for you to respond regarding the bargaining issues, but to take the input, value it, consider it, et cetera. And I'm saying that so everybody understands. You're not being rude. You're following legal guidance and letting now you meet in private to discuss the issues and give direction to your bargaining team, and then ultimately you can always end up in a public meeting, but that's the legal advice, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I apologize for not calling on you earlier before the comments. So I have my list here, and I will call them in order. Please remember, just like before, when I call you up, if you please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes. Nicole, I would probably not say your last name right. Nicole A. Anstat. I was going to say it that way, but I didn't want to mess up.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Anstad. I'm at 3535 Bon Air Boulevard, apartment 614 in Kissimmee, Florida. I wore my SeaWorld shirt today because this is what I wear 20 hours of my weekends. Every weekend. I have to wear this shirt and stand on my feet for 9 to 10 hours straight, selling souvenirs to the guests who can actually afford to come to our park. A luxury that most of the teachers in this county cannot afford to do with their families. This past June, I made the decision to forfeit my time with my family in order to supplement our income and be able to pay our bills. We live in a one-bedroom apartment on the west side of Osceola near 192 and Dyer, and we pay $1,100 a month. And that's the average price for a place in this county. I already struggled to pay our bills this year. I'm afraid of what's to come next year. The so-called salary increase is nothing but a cruel April Fool's joke to me and to every other teacher in this district. By proposing the insurance that you want us to accept, along with the cover-up of a 2% salary increase, it's like looking at the face of the wolf in Grandma's nightgown. It's waiting for us to be devoured and to put us further into debt and despair. In no way is this good for our students. How can you boldly propose such an offer and think that this won't negatively affect the students? More teachers will have to take second and third jobs, taking away from their families, as well as taking away their stamina to perform all the duties that we are already expected unrealistically to perform. Even worse, more qualified teachers, such as myself with 17 years experience and a master's degree, will have to look elsewhere to other counties and to even other states. Where I have researched, a lot of their insurances are much, much cheaper. I am a mother of a graduate student currently in Pittsburgh who needs my help financially. I am a wife, but I am also a teacher. And I just want to do the best job that I can while also be able to provide for my family, to have a place to live, to have affordable health coverage where I don't have to worry about paying the doctors more than what I make. I currently see 2 specialists and I have 2 medications that I take, and I do not want to have to or even should have to worry about choosing what to eliminate and risk my health. It's not right and it's not fair. Please do the right thing and offer us something realistic. Offer us something that you could honestly say, if I were a teacher, I would accept this offer. Anything less than that is not acceptable. Thank you.
I'm going to go a little bit out of order here, Tanya. I have Zach. Zach.
I want to be at home.
You have to tell me your name and your address.
No. He doesn't have to do that. He does.
My name is Zach.
Just tell us your name. Zach's good enough.
Okay.
I want to be at home and snuggle. My dad needs help. My mom needs supplies. My
There's a button on there. Scott's coming. Hold on just a second, Zach. You're doing a great job. Let us work through our technical difficulties.
They're going to start
But
over your time, okay? They'll give you time. Okay.
hours every week. I spend a lot of my time waiting for my parents.
Parents to finish work.
To finish work. And mom needs a raise, and my dad needs a raise. My dad works so many hours every week.
Thank you, Zach.
Zach, you did a great job.
Zach, what grade are you in? What grade are you in, Zach? Where you go to school? You did a good job. You did a real good job,
Nice
Zach.
job,
Good
man.
job.
I have Stephen Bundy. Stephen Bundy.
Be gentle.
Yes. Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm Stephen Bundy, 3915 Attorney Circle in St. Cloud. I had my wife and kids over there with me, but my wife had to take them out.
Mr. Bundy, excuse me. Could we oh, there we go. Thank you.
Okay. I had my wife and kids with me, but she had to take them to get dinner because you guys chose to make us wait. But I am a teacher of Ventura Elementary. I live in St. Cloud, and I've had the privilege to be a product of Osceola County. In fact, I was a student of Dr. Pace's. She actually was the one who started to give me that love of teaching as I was in the Academy of Future Educators at Point Siena High School. So I thank her for that and everything that she taught me as I was learning and introduced to the craft of teaching. I come here today to hopefully shine light on the hardships of the choices of these drastic increases in the insurance, not just to my family, but many of the other ones here and throughout the district. My wife also works in the district, and upon looking over the proposed insurance increase, our family alone is going to increase $209 a paycheck. I understand we haven't had an increase in insurance, as Mr. Thacker had said, in a couple of years, but we also haven't had a decent raise. And in the 15 years that my wife and I have been in the district, we've only seen an increase of $250 a paycheck since we've started in that 15 years. Next year's salary increase for my wife and I together is $42. And I don't see where that increase of the insurance going up $418 a month is anywhere equal to that $42 raise that we're getting. I just don't see where it's going to come from. We both already have a second job just to get by. My wife has a third job just so that we can do the fun stuff with our families on the weekends. And it's a job that she has to do at night so that we can still have our time with our kids to do homework. I'm pleading for the board to consider the economic hardships that you're placing on our employees and our families, especially those that, like my wife and I, we don't have any other options except to go private. And what about the employees who are single parents? They're going to be in the same boat that we are, but with less money. It's just not right. I'm going to end with a quote from Harry Wong, who we actually used in our Academy of Future Educators class. The bottom line is that there is no way to create good schools without good teachers. It's the administrators who create the good schools, and it's the teachers that create good classrooms. I think it's time for our board to start investing in those good teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bundy. Is it Gail Noe? Noe. Gail Noe.
Good evening, Dr. Pace, members of the board. My name is Gail Noe. I live at 3410 Salina Circle, St. Cloud. Once again, I'm up here asking you to consider not having such high insurance. For me, I'm a single parent. My insurance for me and my kids will go up to $94 a paycheck. That's a lot of money when you're a single parent and you teach. I've been teaching for 16 years. I still feel like I don't make enough money. I'm still struggling. Yes, you could say like everyone else, why don't you go get a second job? Well, this is the problem. I have a 14-year-old daughter. As you guys know, social media, everything going on in our community. Is it smart for me to leave her alone for hours on end while I go get a second job? I don't think so. I don't think that's good parenting. I don't think you would want that, and I don't want that. I can't do it. So I'm begging you, please consider not having such a high insurance hike. I just can't do it. What do I do? My hands are tied. I don't have that support like some people do. I don't have, there's a lot of single parents out here. I'm not the only one. I don't have that spouse to watch the kids while I go do a second job, and I'm not leaving her home for hours on end with everything going in our society. It's just not smart parenting. So I'm just begging you, please, to reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noe. I don't know. I can't read this writing. Is it last name Hill? There's Garcia in the middle. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm a teacher. I do have pretty nice handwriting when I take my time. My name is Danae Garcia Hill, 3417 Gator Bay Creek Boulevard, St. Cloud. We all share similar stories. I am a dual language teacher at Ventura Elementary. I am my 4th year teaching there. I have worked very hard. I came out of the business world into teaching. I have 3 children who attend public schools here in Osceola County, like many of you do. I decided to go online last night to find out who all of you are who are deciding what my future is supposed to be, the bills that I am going to be expected to pay in order to keep my children on my insurance. Mr. Weischer, you came into my classroom at Ventura Elementary. I was very moved that you thanked me for the job that I do. You told my students, value your teacher. She works hard for you. That brought tears to my eyes because I really felt your genuine and sincere message to my students. It's important for them to understand that. It's important for all of us to value education, to value teaching. There was something that I read online, and this is Mr. Clarence Thacker. I know most of you are products of Osceola County. Many of you have children here in Osceola County. You have been a mentor for many years, helping students after school. You have a wife who was Teacher of the Year. She was 15 years serving Osceola County. So I really appreciate your service and dedication to our county. Also, you have 3 children, 2 who have graduated law school. Congratulations, that's wonderful. They must have received an excellent education here in Osceola County. So we are valuable. We must be valued. We must be taken seriously. We don't want to leave this county. We want to serve our children here, and we want our children and our families to be equally served. Under Clarence Thacker's profile, and I read all of your profiles because, again, I wanted to know who you were, deciding my future. He is passionate about Osceola County and its future. He believes the quality of a community is directly tied to the quality of its public educational system, and that the educational system drives the quality of growth. Growth is coming to Osceola County, and we must have a top-tier school top tier school district to attract better and higher paying jobs to build a sustainable community. Those jobs, those higher paying jobs, need to start with your educators. We have 2 brand new STEM high schools. 2 brand new STEM high schools in Osceola County that are due to open next year. One is Neo City. My son has been accepted into that school, and I am very proud and very excited for all of the partnerships. Siemens Corporation. We have Lockheed Martin. I have researched. I am a smart teacher. I am a smart businesswoman, just like this room is filled with smart, dedicated, educated. We all have college degrees. Why can't we have affordable health care? Nobody else who's a professional would accept that. How should we accept that? Why are we expected to accept that? It is not fair and it is not right. We work hard as professionals. I know my time might be over, but I ask you to please give me just a little bit more time, and I'm almost done because we waited for you. So, another thing that I want to mention, Mr. Kelvin Soto, Ventura Elementary is part of your district. I have not met you personally, but it's nice to meet you. One of the things that you said in your profile, our society needs honor more than a rising gross national product. Honor. Honor us as your teachers. Another thing you said, what you have in your heart is more important than what you have in the driveway. I think it depends on what you have in your heart, because out of the heart, the mouth speaks. It depends what's in the heart, what comes out of the heart. I want to close with this, and this is part of what you said, Mr. Soto. America needs people who do the right thing because it is the right thing. I want to say Osceola County needs people who do the right thing because it is the right thing. People like you. Welcome to the fight. I want to welcome all of you to the fight. The fight that we are now fighting, the fight that this nation is fighting for education. We want to do our job. We want to continue to have academic learning gains in our classrooms. For every way that every teacher differentiates themselves with additional certifications on our certificate, guess what? We pay $75 for each way that we differentiate ourselves to go on our professional certificate, but we don't see a penny more in return. It doesn't matter how effective we are. We don't see a penny more in return for how we choose to differentiate ourselves to improve our craft as professional teachers. I'm sure you can tell I'm very passionate about this. I'm going to leave you with this.
Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
Be kind and generous. You have value, something to offer through your knowledge, your talents, and your skills. The value is like fire, which becomes bigger, brighter, and better only if you share it. Sharing that value is power. We are here to share our value because collectively we have power. These words I grabbed from Mr. Kelvin Soto. Thank you.
Thank you for reading. Thank you for reading my page. No, my recognition is for you and your very eloquent speech. But as a side note, thank you for reading my page. I wasn't sure that anybody ever did. I beg people to read it, and they're just like, no, Kelvin. I go to Jay Wheeler's page.
Next up, I have Miss Janet Moody.
Good evening. I'm Janet Moody, and I live at 4904 Isle Elm Court in St. Cloud, 34771. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on the issue that causes great concern among district employees. Dr. Pace recently said that 71% of the employees elect single coverage and are not affected by the change. I want to share with you about the 29% who are affected. First, there is my friend and colleague Helen, an ESC teacher and a single parent. Helen is the daughter of a Cuban immigrant who raised 3 kids without state assistance. That value has been passed on to Helen. And Helen is embarrassed to have the need to apply for state kid care as a college graduate who has taught for Osceola for 17 years. Her insurance will be raised to $571, and that means her pay will be reduced by $281. Next, my friend Lisa, a 20-year teacher in Osceola. Lisa has her 2 young girls and her husband on a family plan because his place of business does not offer insurance. Both of Lisa's girls see specialists for different reasons. Lisa's family will have an income loss of at least $1,200 next year with the current proposal. The third family I want to share about is my brother, Jay, a head custodian, and my sister-in-law, Teresa, a 17-year Osceola teacher. Both my nephews take a medication that is not a generic. Their family is waiting to hear what medications will no longer be paid for. They just received word that their rent is being raised in June, and their insurance cost is going to go up by $281 a month. All of these individuals represent the 29%, or nearly 1/3 of the employees affected by the proposed changes. Now I will share how I and everyone else are going to be affected. Those on the wellness plan and the open access plan will see a $50 and $60 increase as specialist copays increase to $70 and a 5% increase in coinsurance and additional out-of-pocket maximums. To bring that into perspective, I did a cost analysis of my own recent medical procedure. It was a simple mole removal which required the use of a dermatologist. The 2 visits and the pathology lab work cost me $213. The same procedure will cost me $293 next year. I simply don't want to consider what a ruptured appendix, fractured bone, kidney stone, or anything serious might cost because the $6,000 out-of-pocket max is no longer in my savings because the cost of living has risen much higher than my salary for the past 8 years. The school district is well aware of the existing shortage of employees, and since January I've been professionally affected by this shortage because my teaching partner resigned after 7 years of being unable to support herself without multiple jobs. The district has not been able to fill her position, and there has been a substitute in her classroom ever since. Almost 1/3 of the employees of this district are going to need to consider leaving when faced with this insurance because people need medical insurance and responsible people provide it to their families. And that leaves 2/3 of this county taking up the slack while the district attempts to find quality employees to fill that void. In closing, I leave you with a piece of professional development that I learned right here in the district from Dr. Yohira Williams. All great changes come from ESP. And ESP is the economic, social, and political events. When a group of individuals are supposed to be are suppressed by economics, social injustice, or political agendas, they will eventually push back for change. And enough is enough in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moody. I have Mr. and Mrs. Is it Rish? If you guys would like to come up together, you're more than welcome. You don't have to. I won't hold you to. We'll give you 6 minutes or whatever. You know, it's up to you. But it's up to you, however you want to do it.
Good evening, gentlemen of the school board.
Just please remember to state your name and address for the record. Sorry.
Heather Rish, 722 Maybette Street, Kissimmee, Florida, 34741. I love working in Osceola County. Part of it is because I know that I can pick up the phone if I ever needed to and talk to any one of you. It's a county where we know each other and we care about each other. And I want to be in this county till the day I retire because of it. The professional development offered in this county is excellent. I had the opportunity when I was working at Kissimmee Middle School to receive training from Tammy Heffelbauer, who has co-authored books with Robert Marzano. I've had the opportunity to attend math solutions training and various institutes with varying exceptionalities. I'm a special ed teacher. And I see that we're investing even more money into professional development in the next years with the National Board Certification and with mentorship opportunities. The reason I'm here is I read this proposal for the insurance, and it's not good for Osceola County. 71% of people may receive the single insurance plan. They're young, starting out in their careers. But when you have a family and you have to start putting food on the table, and I have to look at my son and say, well, we're having ramen again, it gets kind of old. And I'll be honest, I filled out applications. I'm a special ed teacher. I'm starting to get some offers, but I don't want to leave. I'm holding my cards in my hand until this thing gets resolved. I don't want to leave this county. However, I can't look at my son eat another cup of ramen noodles. It's not good for him. I need to be able to buy milk and eggs every week to support my child. He's a growing boy.
I'm Stephen Risch. I'm also at 722 Maybette Street. So, first of all, I'm a computer technician at Celebration K-8. I'm in charge of 920 computers. I am there for 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes doing 14, 15, 16 hours a day just to make sure testing goes right. Do I get paid for it? No, I don't. I'm not asking for pay for it. I'm asking for you guys to not increase my insurance. My insurance is going to go up between myself, my wife, and my child, $2,500. I can't go get another job because I have to make the school run. I'm very passionate about my job. I'm very passionate to make sure that all kids succeed with this computer based testing. Please don't increase the insurance. I can't afford it. I've had medical problems myself. In the past 2 months, I went into the hospital because I had a heart-related issue because of all the stress that I'm being put under. We can't do it anymore. Please, look in your hearts and think about us. We don't want to leave. I honestly looked at going to Disney because they have better insurance. Yes, I'd take a pay cut, but all I have to do is work the same amount of hours I'm working here and I'll make more money. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Miss Perry, she's still there?
Nope, I'm here.
Yes, I know you. Come on up.
And I did the right thing, didn't I? Came to you first. Okay. All right. I'm Karen Perry. I'm at Neptune Middle School, 2317 Giselle Court. Now that's public record. I am going to yield a minute and a half to Kayla. Back there? Yep, right there. My newfound friend. I like to meet people, so. Anyway, I had 3 things listed on my list. One was fiscal responsibility, but I think everybody covered that. Time to task analysis, which I have told everybody I could about the time to task analysis that a good business model uses. It's whenever, I'm not going to reteach it, but when you bring in something new, you look to see how many hours it takes to do this thing, and then you look at what already has been tasked of the people that are doing it. Well, I love Osceola County. When I came here 15 years ago, it was the fastest growing county. And it seemed to that when you brought in a program, you would get rid of something else or you knew that you couldn't do it. I'd like you to revisit, all of the programs that are involved in instituting and really look how much time it takes for a teacher to do that in the classroom. It's really easy when you go to a workshop and you see something, this is cool, let's bring it back to Osceola County, or FETC, and you bring it back to Osceola County and we want to do it. But you don't realize how long it takes to, at our level, the ground level in the classroom to do. And last, I just want to quickly say insurance. This is the face of someone who, when we came here 15 years ago, my husband and I, we were retired military. We chose this area. My husband was stationed here before. We had TRICARE Prime. We still do. I was almost tempted to get the insurance of Osceola County, and my husband said, no, don't do that, don't do that. Other counties have done that, and then later it changes. I used to get made fun of in the teacher's lounge, that I was paying too much for my co-pays and all this stuff, and military insurance was not very good, they said. Now, my military benefits and insurance are so much better, and I'm so glad that I don't have it. And I have to admit, I was so busy with science fair, I didn't hear everything that was going on until I was sitting in my classroom. People came in and said, Karen, did you see they're increasing my insurance by this much? New teachers, old teachers, veteran teachers. So please, please, please look at that. And so now I'm awake to it, and I'm really feeling for those people. And so I met Kayla, so I'm going to turn it over to her. And
You can finish because she's got a part too. She can have.
No, I didn't want to, do the 3-minute thing. Okay, so.
Perry, whatever you want.
I know he can talk, and Mr. Allen's probably watching that clock, and he's going to say, yeah. So that insurance piece is so important. I went in for a gallbladder surgery, and someone else did too. As my military insurance, I paid the same old copay, and everybody complains about the military insurance, and it was worse. You did it really well 16 years ago when I came. I was tempted to change. I'm not. And the last thing I want to tell you, and I think it hooks to that, is that when you give a pay raise, you don't also take away what you're giving. And that's all I'm saying, is that look at that. You know, if you gave a pay raise this year and then increased it next year, can you put it, you know, you guys are really good about looking at the numbers and stuff. Go back and see what can you do, because there's got to be something you can do much better. All of you have been very supportive of me throughout all these years of transition and getting me what I need for science fair when there isn't money. And don't worry, I'm going to get money myself. I am got a grant writer in my thoughts already. But we shouldn't have to go and write grants. We should be in there teaching the best that we can and not being health-centered. My doctor is a retired military doctor as well, and I asked him when I came in, I said, how many people do you see that are teachers coming in with stress-related issues? And he said, there's a lot, Karen. I don't know what you're doing in those classrooms. I said, oh, you don't want to know. But anyway, it's not so much that the 37.5 hours that we get paid are not enough. I'm not a 37.5 hour teacher. And I think everybody who knows me knows I don't go by the hour, but I don't want the new people coming in, the new teachers that we're losing because they can't get it all in because there's so much on the time to task analysis. Please look at that model. Just look at it again and try to work with that insurance, because you're right, it doesn't affect me, but I'm speaking for all the people who came in the last week with these little papers in their hands telling me how much stuff is going to increase. So please do that. Thank you.
Ms. Fortune, correct?
Yes, hello.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Kayla Fortune, 11111, Tyndall Road, Orlando, Florida.
And for the record, Ms. Perry took that extra minute and a half, so she just leaves you with 3 minutes.
I'll try to keep it short. I am not in my element in a room full of adults. I was asked by several of my friends back here to share my story. I love what I do. I love being around my kiddos. All of you should come see my classroom. My students are amazing. With the help of OSHA this year, me and my partner spearheaded the teacher parent home visit program. I've been in our kids' homes, and it's been a phenomenal program. I'm a Best and Brightest grant recipient. I have my master's from the University of Chicago. For 7 years, I've spent my first paycheck on my student supplies because I've always taught at Title I schools, and they don't bring in the supply list. Those kids can't afford it. I've tried to solve a lot of these problems on my own. I've been pretty successful. This year, I've raised over $18,000 in grants just for my classroom. My classroom is one-to-one because each of my students has an iPad or a computer because of those grants I've written, because I know they need 21st century learning. I'm doing my best to provide what my students need. I was making the budget work until last year. I had a baby last year, and unfortunately, she has a GI disability. She can't digest or eliminate food on her own, so some of my friends told me to go visit WIC because of the formula was $800 a month. It's an amino acid feeding. She ingests it through a feeding tube. So I went to WIC and I said, can you guys help me at all? This is $800 a month. I'm a public school teacher. Said, show us your paycheck. I was $240 off. I made $240 too much to get the welfare program to get me the free formula. So they said, do you have any medical bills? I showed them the last medical bill just from Walgreens from picking up her medication, and they said, okay, because of the medical bill, you're approved. So now, 1 day a month, I'm out of sick time because of maternity leave. I take a pay cut from my salary to go stand in the welfare line to get supplemental welfare because I'm a public school teacher. As a woman, this is hard for me to do because I don't want my baby to grow up seeing me stand in a welfare line because I'm standing there as a full-time teacher. And I don't want her to think that I need to rely on another income from a spouse, because I don't think that's fair. I'm a professional in what I do. I just have been sensing a climate change, and I really want you guys to have a dose of reality of what we're going through. I don't want our school system to become antiquated, and I know teacher retention is a problem. We can't fill jobs at my school. I don't want to leave our county. I know I can get a job somewhere else, because Ventura Elementary is one of the best schools in this country to work for. Our principal trusts us. The teachers are a family, but unfortunately, I know it's hard for the teachers who have been here for over a decade, but for young moms, young teachers, we can't afford the housing market. We can't afford the new insurance. My budget's not going to work. And I know I have special circumstances because of my daughter. I want to stay positive. That's how I am. So I have a few ideas. I think Osceola County can look into a child care center, because there's really not a lot of babies that are under school age. I don't think it would cost that much, and other counties in Florida are doing it, so that we don't have to pay for daycare. I would really like you all to look into coordinating volunteers for child care, for the report card nights and the literacy nights, all the Title I events that I don't get paid for, and I end up losing money to find a babysitter. I would also truly, truly encourage you to look into labeling more teachers highly effective, because it's become this weird, impossible thing to achieve when our teachers truly are highly effective. So those are my ideas. I'm trying to do the best that I can, but I really want you to meet me halfway. Thank you.
Mr. Blasso-Becker, I know where you live, but you still have to say it.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Hello, my name is Glenn Blasso-Becker. I live at 3312 Brackenfern Drive in Harmony, Florida. I have the privilege of teaching middle school language arts at Harmony Community School. It is a privilege. I know you would all agree that a good teacher is a highly qualified professional, but sometimes people seem to forget that. As far as I can see, the prevailing local attitude toward the teaching profession has not changed very much since about 1950. The assumption seems to be that a teacher is just a woman, if you'll pardon that expression, and that her husband will be the primary source of income and insurance for the family throughout most of her life. That assumption is not fair to anyone. I'm going to skip some of the generalizations I could make and talk personally. I love what I do every day, working with wonderful young minds and learning from them. I'm very proud of the kids at Harmony Community School. I love almost every aspect of my job, except the salary. I've had 9 years' worth of college education at some of America's most famous Ivy League universities. I've had more than 20 years' experience in the professional world of publishing in New York. And I've had 14 wonderful years of experience as a teacher. 1 year I clocked more than 1,000 hours of unpaid overtime. And now, what's my position? I can't afford to own a car, and so I don't. My beautiful wife is a cancer survivor. I can't afford to pay her medical bills, but I have to do that anyway. As teachers, the health insurance policies we used to have were a good perk. Now, despite that overcrowded employee health care center, they seem to be a liability. I don't see how I can afford to retire before the age of 75, even if I wanted to do that. I had more money in my retirement account 15 years ago back in New York. I have known teenagers who nearly flunked out of high school, teenagers who barely succeeded in graduating on schedule, and who promptly wound up earning more money than I make, and with better benefits because they were working in tourism or some other field. Fortunately, years ago, I took some college courses in acting. How else could I tell my students with a straight face that a good education will help them be financially successful. The district claims to care about rewarding and retaining good teachers. Please, my friends, be more aggressive about finding tangible ways to put this into action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blossberger. Michelle S. I'm just going to say Michelle S. I'll let you pronounce your last name so I don't butcher it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Sadawi. I live at 1853 Destiny Boulevard, Kissimmee, 34741. Ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I am hopeful that it is beneficial and enlightening, but most of all, that it is somehow invokes positive monetary change. This is my first meeting, not because I don't desire change or I don't want to be here, I'm not interested, but instead because childcare costs money. So every minute of me being here today came at an extra cost for me. It's no secret at this point that I'm here to speak about support staff, finances, and consistent raises, or unfortunately, the lack thereof. I am a fairly recent single mom of 2 elementary school age boys, and I've been trying to survive on a salary of less than $16,000 a year. That's $16,000 a year. However, as you can imagine, that has posed to be a very difficult task. As an example, just to get a bit personal, this year my rent increased at $31 a month. $31 a month. I mean, if it made $100,000 or something a little bit over 40, that would no big deal. However, for me, it's $372 for the year. My point in sharing that is if I were making a survivable salary, I wouldn't have to stress about my measly $31 to pay for a roof over my head and that of my children. I would never have to stress that if Medicaid was ever taken away, that I would not be able to afford insurance to pay for them. God forbid they ever got sick. I wouldn't be able to afford insurance for even myself. I'm one paycheck away from standing on 192. Excuse me. Or for a meal or the next place to live. I don't have family local, but I'm here and I'm serving this county. I volunteer at my school because I love my kids. I have a bachelor's degree, and hopefully after a few years of trying, I would be starting my master's by the end of the year. I say all that to say that I am educated, and I can't find something else to do. I love what I do. I love working with kids and watching them grow and thrive because I mean, really, they are my future. They're your future. And who doesn't want to have a hand in shaping that in a positive way? Many times I've heard, well, if you don't like your job and you get what you get, so go with it. That hurts. That saddens me. Along with many others of similar circumstances, it's not easy just to go and find something else. And again, why should we have to? Because the amount of the pay that we get is utterly disgraceful and ridiculously embarrassing. It's already so very difficult to advance in the district, even with a degree, that it seems to be the only way to make a somewhat decent living. And even with teachers, respectfully so, doesn't even come close to other careers or work industries. I don't just speak for myself, but also many of my colleagues and support staff. We are told how valuable we are, how valued we are. I don't know. Wouldn't you second guess that statement if you were in my shoes, a paycheck away from living on the street or even with a full-time job, just lack the means to provide for your family? Please help us. Help me. Help me provide a better life for my sons. They are the future, and we all deserve a bit more monetary respect for our hand in shaping it. Thank you for your time.
Evelyn Cunningham. Ms. Cunningham?
Good evening. I'm a little short, so.
You can pull the mic, you can pull the mic down. Be gentle with it.
Okay.
But
Good evening. My name is Evelyn Cunningham, and I live at 11009 Regency Commons Court, Orlando, Florida. And I thank you. This is my first meeting, too. I work with Michelle. I've been working at this district for 25 years now. And unfortunately, even though I have nothing to show for it, can't afford a savings, I don't have a savings account. I have to wake up every day or go to sleep every night wondering, is this the year that I'm going to have my home taken away from me? Because that's where I was just a year ago, facing foreclosure because I could not make the rent or my mortgage. Even though I have 2 bachelor's degrees and I'm 3 classes away from earning my master's in education. Let me put my glasses because I can see. My current salary that I make now is still the same salary that I made when I was 17 years old in Massachusetts. So because of your antiquated policies, I continue to go backwards financially, along with thousands of other employees here in the district the same. Sadly, your current salary proposal now that you're proposing to us is shameful. While others across the United States are getting pay raises, bonuses, cost of living increases, we instead are getting a pay cut under this health insurance proposal that you are imposing on us to justify your personal pay increases. Last year, you offered all low-paying employees, such as myself, a dismal 1% salary increase because you did not have the money to do so. The average salary here is about $30,000. And even though I've been here for 25 years, I don't even make remotely that amount of money. I don't even make $20,000 a year. So, because you said you had no money, you, in the meantime, gave yourselves approximately at least 3% pay raise with the money you said you didn't have to give to teachers or to staff, even though yourselves earn $115,000 a year minimum. Where is the justice in that?
Just let her finish.
That's my approximation, because I know you don't sit here making $30,000 a year, because you do not. What is frustrating is that according to your comprehensive annual fiscal financial report here, have millions sitting in one of your many coffers hiding. Instead of truly and honestly presenting that report during your budget or salary negotiations, why is that? Why don't you show this? Or why don't you use this to discuss what our future and what we deserve to get paid? Because of your cronyism and nepotism that exist within your hiring and promotion practices, there is no room for growth for any promotions because of it. You have many support staff, such as myself, who are more than equally qualified to move up the corporate ladder, but unfortunately, you refuse to acknowledge their skills and talent that they may possess. Before I close, just a couple of years ago, there was no money to keep our ESOL compliance specialist because there was no money. So they were forced to go back into the classrooms. The majority of those people retired because they couldn't handle it, because they were out of the classrooms for 20 years. So they were forced out. Instead, they put us to do that job. And I have to say, I'm going to give myself a good pat on my back because I did a good job. I've done it for over 10, 11 years, doing an EES position. Our FTE, you can look at it, it is fantastic. Now there's money to put those people that they had no money to keep. All of a sudden, everybody's rolling in dough. Now we have all these positions opening. Oh, we're adding this new position. Where is that money coming from? And why isn't some of that money coming to your poverty-stricken employees such as myself. All we got was just 1%, which is, if you calculate it, barely made a quarter. In closing, what this district is doing is creating an impoverished atmosphere to the extent of many of your employees are losing their homes and facing homelessness right here in front of you due to insufficient income to meet the costs and demands of living needed to survive. Therefore, I pray and hope that you reconsider your position to continue holding us back versus moving forward. I thank you for your time.
I'll handle it. Ms. Cunningham, thank you. I can assure you that none of these gentlemen here makes $115,000 for sitting up here.
You make more than 20,000. Hello.
We do have an approved salary by the state. That is correct.
When I lose my home, I hope you have a mother-in-law suite because I'll be moving in.
And by the way, I'm on the family plan as well.
My son doesn't even have insurance.
Ruth Nelson. Did she leave? Okay. That's the last one. Tammy, would you put the graphic up for me? I appreciate all of you coming tonight, and the reason that we held to here so we didn't have to worry about the 3 minutes and we could let everybody speak for as long as they wanted, and so we appreciate that. Mr. Thacker made some comments earlier in the meeting, and I just wanted to be able to illustrate them. How are we going to do that?
We have to get Ruben.
Do what?
Ruben will get it in a second. He has to push a button.
I just wanted to illustrate them, and I know, again, as our legal counsel has illustrated, it will be not the correct thing for us to do to kind of discuss the bargaining issues with you tonight, but I did. As soon as they get this up, I'm tired of stalling, so hurry up and get it up. Just so you know what the 5 of us are dealing with and what we receive from the state of Florida. There it is right there. That's Osceola County all the way at the bottom. That number is the FTE number. That is the unweighted FTE number. That is what we receive per student here in Osceola County. Now, you can go all the way up to some of the other counties at the top. I don't know who's at the top, Collier, Sarasota, right? Okay. But that's where we are. And there is a really, really big difference in the money that they receive versus the money that we receive here in Osceola. Keep going. We're down there at the bottom. There we are. I think the left is last year, or the year before last, and the right is this current year. Nope. So you can see there are some districts receiving over $8,000 a student. $8,000 a student. And we are receiving less than 7. Actually, this year it was right over 7, 71. So I don't put that up there to discourage anybody. I just want to put that up there so that you all know the work that we're doing up here and what we have to contend with. And this story that you're telling us tonight needs to be heard by your state legislature, by your state senator. And I mean, there's the number right there in red. There it is. There's a lot of things that determine that number, and every part of that formula hurts Osceola County. And it has been a part of the efforts of this board to change those things. Yes. Yeah, please, Mr. Krummelbacher.
That number is determined in Tallahassee by a committee of staff people and a budget committee with the legislature, which I've done this for 40 years, which there is not a district in the state that will tell you those numbers are realistic when they look at the district. Members of the board, I sat here tonight reading 105 pages of legislation involving school safety that they passed. It is replete with responsibilities they put on you and everyone else. And I keep looking, where's the money? Where's the money? And there's no money. And that goes on over and over again. And then this board's got to figure out how to stretch what they do get.
And I think part of what we do is what Mr. Thacker alluded to, by having the lowest administrative cost in the state of Florida per student. No county spends less per student. Am I saying that right, Sarah? No county in the state of Florida spends less per student in administrative cost than Osceola County. No county.
You know, I've heard this my first time here, and I know I didn't sign up to do anything.
Well, please come up, state your name.
Okay. We've got teachers. You think it's easy for these teachers to come up here
No, I knew it.
spill their personal business like that? I mean, that's shameful. I want to cry right now, okay? I seriously want to cry. I want to chase after that woman that left here. But she's one of hundreds, you know? And we come to you here, and we come to you with, like, our hearts open, okay? There is nobody here, no one. There is no bad teacher. There is no lazy teacher. You've got teachers here that work far more than 37.5, 37.8 hours in a week, okay? We don't volunteer. We are voluntold, okay? And we do it with an
Yeah,
open
ma'am,
heart.
we really actually do need you to come up and state your name and well then I'm sorry, ma'am, that's, I'm sorry.
When I tell her that I gotta go on
This is no longer public speaking. What we're doing right now is something different. This is not a public speaking.
Clarence, Mr. Soto, we're in a public meeting. The public is addressing this board, and there's a record. And when the public
That is
addresses,
correct.
we maintain a
We have
record.
them go ahead and say their names then, but they can stay where they're at.
Yeah.
Okay?
My name is Helen Portuando, and I live at 825.
Good compromise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good compromise.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. No, I just, again, the only reason I put that up there is so that everyone here understands that this is the struggle that we face here, year in and year out. Every year, our one of our number one goals in our lobbying team is for more operational dollars, every year.
May I say something, please?
Sure. Please.
Just say your name again once.
Yep.
Danae Garcia.
That's it. Go
Yep.
ahead.
I just, and this is
Yeah,
something,
we can.
I mean, this is something that I'm sure that you know.
We do.
But the less money that our county is given per student, the more comes out of our pockets to ensure that they receive an excellent education. Not only that, but you're proposing to increase our insurance, which completely wipes away our raise. You, sir, you are, I think I read on your profile, I don't have my notes right in front of me, but I did read that you are very good at balancing budgets. That's something that you're proficient at. So I encourage you to please take with you all of our stories. We care about this county, but we refuse to work under antiquated policies that are not benefiting our families. First and foremost, our families are our primary ministry. Our second ministry is our calling to teach. I don't think any of us want to give it up. However, me personally, I will not sacrifice my family for 40 students. I will not do that. My family comes first, and I love my students. But I love my family more.
Mr. Wheeler?
First off, I appreciate everybody's here. I've been on the board since 2002. I've been here, is this working? I've been on the board since 2000. The one thing that I have been asking since I've been on this board, that I've always thought that an organized group, teachers union, non-professional union, et cetera, forget about Osceola, look at it from a state perspective. You've got hundreds of thousands of teachers on a state level, and insurance is a big issue. It's a big deal. It's been a big deal since I've been here. This is not new. It's just gotten worse. And the insurance and doctors and hospitals have gotten so poor at their business. They've let no offense, attorneys and insurance companies take over their industry. That's what's happened. So we are where we are. And the point I want to make is, we really, on a statewide level, need the union. The unions have got so many people and so much clout, they could help with health insurance. It's gotten beyond a local level. We're trying to drink from a fire hose. We are, and now it's hurting everybody. April, I know you're coming, but I'm going to say this on a statewide level. Andy Ford, not you, Andy Ford and his colleagues before him, they could have helped us get better insurance on a statewide basis, and they never have. That's where the problem is. It's health insurance. We know it's health insurance. I had to have surgery recently. I had to pay $6,000. I'm on the same boat that I didn't have, but I had to do it. And by the way, we don't make $115,000. Nobody here makes more than 40, and the state determines what we get. Well, and we're responsible for 70,000 students, an $800 million budget, and 8,000 employees. And we ran for this, and I encourage any of you to run for this. I've done it for 16 years. So with that said, we need your help.
Okay, we're gonna let Ms. Jackson speak, and then we're gonna close our meeting. We'll adjourn our meeting. So, Ms. Jackson.
April Jackson, 722 Mabette Street, Kissimmee, Florida. And the reason I don't give my actual address is because I have connections to law enforcement and/or firefighters, and my address is protected by law. So anybody else that gives the office's address, please know that that was not appropriate, and you should have given your real home address. Jay, we have addressed at Florida Education Association every year the possibility of getting insurance. When you include Duval County, Dade County, Hillsborough, Pinellas, and all the other larger districts in the state, our insurance would be increased as to what we're paying now. There cannot be one statewide insurance because of the number of claims in other districts. We have looked into it over and over again. It is not a possibility.
The strength in numbers, April.
It is not a possibility. We have investigated it. So you to say that it's the union's fault that we have not been able to be successful is a very unfair statement. If you actually read through the minutes from our annual meetings for the last 15 years, you will see that this is discussed at our governance board meetings and at each and every public meeting of the delegate assembly. It is not something that's possible to do.
So it shows how ineffective the leadership has been then.
It is not effective. It is not ineffective leadership. It is something that is not cost effective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anything else from the board?
Chairman, just before you adjourn, I just want to say I know that I have sat quiet this evening. I've done that out of respect for you guys. As our attorney mentioned, you know, we sit in a difficult seat when we get to hear very important information from people that are very important to us, but yet we're limited in what it is that we're able to say back to you. And I think what the most important thing I would want to communicate to you tonight is that your stories are not lost on us. I promise you they're not. Your concerns are real to us. Your needs are heard by us. And we don't sit up here making decisions without truly considering the impact that it has on you personally, on your families, the impact that it has on our community at large, and the impact that it has on our entire school district. And so I think what I'd like you to know from at least me this evening, we truly do value you. And as difficult as a situation that we always find ourselves in with the funding that we have and the responsibilities that are laid before us and are laid before you, please know from my heart, and I mean this sincerely, you guys are incredibly important. You do important work. It's not lost on me how valuable you really are and the difference that you really make. And each one of us would love to find a way to do more every single day for you in how we work with you and how we support you and how we fund you. But Mr. Booth wasn't trying to pass the buck when he showed you the slide. He was trying to show that there are realities that sometimes you don't see or people don't understand. And we understand that because we sometimes don't understand what you face day to day in your job, just like we understand sometimes you don't understand what we face day to day in our job. So thank you for sharing your hearts and thank you for sharing your stories. We do tremendously appreciate each and every single one of you. And I can assure you that when this board sits down to talk about what decisions we need to make, and I'm telling you this firsthand, they say it and they do it with every intention to do the right things by everybody that we represent and we serve. And that's all 350,000 people in this community, that's all 70,000 students, and that's all 8,000 plus employees. So I hope you hear my true heart tonight. I'm not sitting here quiet because I don't want to reach out and sincerely hug each one of you guys and say thank you to you. And I'm sorry that you're dealing with some of the difficulties that you are. But please know that we're all trying to make the right decisions to do the right things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weisshire. Mr. Thacker? Good? Mr. Wheeler, you're good? Mr. Soto?
All right, so right before we close, I want to say, first of all, y'all did a very, very good job expressing yourselves, each and every one of you. It is from where I sit right here, it's easy, it comes across very, very easy to see the kind of dedicated and passionate professionals that you are, and just how much it means to you to be a teacher and to have that great responsibility. Listen, I was taking notes, all right? All right, I took notes, and I want to tell you that it does make a difference to express yourself. These guys, all of us, we need to hear this. And like Mr. Weisshire just explained, we're going to have an opportunity amongst ourselves to go ahead and balance all of these interests and all of these responsibilities. And I will tell you that I will advocate for these things that you brought up. All right, I'm not making any promises, but I'll be making sure that we do somebody will bring this up. It's not myself, it'll be one of them, but I have them written down, and we'll be heard, okay? So you will have a voice when we're in there discussing these things. Again, I really appreciate everything that you do, and I thank you for your time and for being patient with us and waiting until the end. I knew that if we did this, we would have this discussion.
Correct.
And that's why, the chairman saw it as well. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you all for staying here. Thank you for sharing your stories with us today. I don't think I could have said it any better than Mr. Weisshire. So thank you all, and we will stand adjourned.